Dari kita udah kah ini?
Ya,
Alvin ini ada CSO juga di sini ya?
betul Mas.
Oke.
Bakal ada Maybank juga observe, sama ada Impact yang akan observe.
Oke, got it.
Nanti kita mulai tepatnya Bang 6.30.
Apa gue defaultnya ini aja ya, Vin? Di standby di videonya.
Boleh, iya. Mulai dari sekarang langsung di standby video aja. Jadi sebelum peserta masuk, videonya udah ready gitu, Bang.
Terus gue apa namanya pin gitu kan.
Iya. Nanti
Ini
gue bisa bantu ini sih, Bang, admit all. Kalau
Hmm.
nanti jadi
atau enggak
Bang Aldi di awal ini fokus sama itu aja, fokus sama videonya.
biar Bang Aldi fokus sama ini operator, gue juga bisa bantu admit all partisipannya
Oke,
kalau
oke.
butuh. Ya.
Oke. Thank you.
Gue coba play ya.
Iya. Iya, jalan, Bang. Suaranya juga
Suaranya.
masuk, Bang.
Oke, aman. Gue stop di sini ya.
Oke.
Ini yang ke spotlight gue atau videonya?
Videonya, Bang.
Oke.
Oke, sebentar lagi ya. Kita mulai.
Gue admit pas 18.30 ya.
Sekarang juga nggak apa-apa sih, Om. Ini udah mulai ramai ya.
Oke.
Oke, thank you, Om.
Oke, Bismillah. Good luck.
Bismillah. Bang Aldi. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our special guests, civil society organization representatives, youth volunteers coming from all over Southeast Asia, and all invitees who are present virtually tonight. Welcome to the kickoff meeting of Empowering Youths Across ASEAN Cohort 4. My name is Arumdari, and I will be the master of ceremony for tonight's meeting. In the next couple of hours, we will have the presentations about the program overview and the guidelines for the monitoring and evaluation, communication, and operation procedures. And finally, we also will have the question and answers before we close tonight's meeting. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Piti Sri Sangnam, the Executive Director of the ASEAN Foundation, to deliver the opening remarks. To Dr. Piti, time is yours.
Good evening. Selamat malam. สวัสดีครับ It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you, representatives of civil society organizations and youth volunteers from 10 ASEAN countries, to the kickoff meetings of Empowering Youth Across ASEAN, Cohort 4. The Empowering Youth Across ASEAN is a collaborative program by the ASEAN Foundations and Maybank Foundations that aim to create a cohort of young change makers that is capable of driving changes in their community through the act of social volunteering. By harnessing the power of civil society organizations as our local implementing partners, we hope to build a strong grassroots collaborations that is able to deliver community projects that bring greater and lasting impact to the communities. This kick-off meeting marks the beginnings of your empowering youth journeys. Therefore, I hope this get-together will be able to provide all of you with important information about the programs, including the aspects of monitoring and evaluations, operations and communications that will enable you to have smooth journeys with us, and more importantly, implement a successful community project. I would like to congratulate the representatives from all civil society organizations from Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand attending this briefing. I sincerely appreciate this commitment to work together with young change makers to create a significant impact for communities across ASEAN. A big congratulations also to 100 youth volunteers from 10 ASEAN member states who have passed a rigorous selections involving thousands of talent applicants. I really admire your readiness to drive change with empowering youth programs. And I am very proud to see your enthusiasm to make a meaningful actions through social volunteerism. Finally, I'd like to convey my highest appreciations to the Maybank Foundations for the continued commitments and dedications for the betterment of ASEAN. This program would not have been possible without their supports, which all of you have a great time tonight. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. ขอบคุณครับ
Thank you very much, Dr. Piti, for your insightful opening remarks. We will now proceed with our next agenda, the introduction of the ASEAN Foundation team and the presentation about the program overview, monitoring and evaluation, communication, and operation. Without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Alvin to lead the next agenda. Alvin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Arum. All right, so a very good evening for everyone, and congratulations on making it to this stage. And you've been, as Dr. Piti has mentioned earlier, that you've been selected among thousands and thousands of applicants across Southeast Asia, and it's such a pride that you can join us today, and we look forward to making an impact in our community across ASEAN. My name is Alvin, and I am the Senior Project Officer for the Empowering Youth Across ASEAN Program at the ASEAN Foundations. And here we have with us, in addition to Dr. Piti that you have met before, we have Mr. Anthony Octaviano as the Head of Communications. We also have Ms. Ninik as the Head of operations at the ASEAN Foundations. Additionally, we also have Ms. Arum Dari acting as an MC tonight, as the communications consultant at the ASEAN Foundations. We also have Mr. Fred as the graphic design consultant at our side. We also have Mr. Aldi as the project support at the ASEAN Foundations. Additionally, we also have Ms. Rati, Ms. Mary from the ASEAN Foundation as well. In addition to that, we have special guests from our partner and our donor, Maybank Foundations. We have Mr. Eddie from the Maybank Foundations as well as Mr. Firdaus. So without further ado, I would like to begin the first presentations, which is supposed to be delivered by Mr. Mahmoud Yusbi as the head of strategic planning and business development, but given his conflicting schedule, I will deliver the presentation on his behalf. So the first presentation is on the ASEAN Foundations program. So first of all, the ASEAN Foundations is founded in 1987 in December, and it is an intergovernmental organization where we report to 10 ASEAN ambassadors of all 10 ASEAN countries. And we serve as an ASEAN body under the ASEAN Charter that targets people across ASEAN. In our program specifically, we target the people of the age 15 to 35 across the ASEAN region. And our mission is to build a cohesive and prosperous ASEAN community, and our mission is to commit and promoting ASEAN awareness through people-to-people interactions through the projects that we have. In addition to that, we have several projects. We have a lot of projects actually under 6 pillars that you can see in the presentations. So these are the following programs. The following programs are the ones that we are currently running. And the one that you have been accepted to is called the Empowering Youth Across ASEAN Programme, which is a collaborative program between the ASEAN Foundations as well as the Maybank Foundations, began since 2019. And the reason why the Empowering Youth Across ASEAN program was run in the first place is that we are one of the most diverse regions in the world, and we have an issue of disparity across the region. And we believe that our greatest asset is youth, and we aim to harness the youth energy as well as youth enthusiasm to become change makers empowered by the ASEAN Foundations and Maybank Foundations. And we are not only financing people's need, but also power the dreams that they have, and we empower sustainable efforts in the local communities through our collaborations with the civil society organizations across ASEAN. And the Empowering Youth Across ASEAN program itself, the mission is to empower youth to become change makers and drive social changes in the ASEAN community. And we run projects every year under the theme of educations, art and cultures, environment, and community development. And yeah, these are the projects that we have in the past 3 cohorts, and these are the ones that we are going to be running in the 4th cohort. Yeah, so completing that presentations, I would like to continue with the next presentations with regards to the overview of the Empowering Youth Across ASEAN program. So first of all, we are discussing the projects that we have. So this year, we are proudly announcing to you that we're expanding to a new country, which is in Thailand. We have recently expanded our target countries, including Thailand. Last year, we have 5 countries in total, and this year we are having 6 countries that we will run our project in. And as you have learned from our email package or our information package via email, these are the timeline that we're expecting. The first one would be the online regional capacity building workshop that will begin on the 14th, 21st, and 28th of June. every day, like every Friday from the 5:30 to 8:30 in the evening. And you could expect an update from our partners at Impact with regards to the details of the training. And on the 7th of July, we expect the CSOs to submit the final proposals without any more changes. And on the 29th to the 20th of October 2024, we are running the program or the projects themselves. So while the youth volunteers engagement on site is from 7th to 20th of August 2024, we are running the projects led by the CSOs from the 29th to the 20th of October. So in addition to embarking yourself on site, you will be expected as the youth volunteers to be engaged virtually throughout this 3 months period with regards to the project. Additionally, we are going to run the sustainability monitoring across the project site. So ASEAN Foundations team and Maybank Foundations will go to different project sites to double check or to monitor and to evaluate the progress at projects that we have created together. And by the 29th and 20th of July, the reporting is required. So the details will be explained later on, and you can learn that from the reporting guidelines that we have shared. And these are some important
Apologies,
due dates.
Alvin, the presentation is not changing. Could you please?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me reshare it. Okay, is it working now, Arun?
Yes, working now.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the due dates that you are expecting. On the 7th of July for the civil society organizations and social enterprises, we're expecting your submission of the first milestones that we have discussed earlier via email. And between the 29th of July to the 8th of September 2024, we're expecting your submission of the second milestone as well as the progress report and progress financial report. So you can submit at any time within this period, as long as you have completed the achievement of your milestone. And on the 9th of September to the 20th of October, similarly, in this 6th period, you are expected to submit your final reports alongside this reporting requirements. And yeah, for the youth volunteers, you're going to be expected to submit your 2-week daily timesheet by the 20th of August. So essentially, what we're expecting is that you are going to be taking notes on like what you do every single day with the civil society organizations and our implementing partners, and submit that timesheet to the ASEAN Foundations for your report requirement. And by the 9th to the 20th of October, you are going to be expected to submit your final report and submit a project impact video that you're expected to produce. So in which case, the video that you need to make is a vertical video, while the CSO is expected to submit the horizontal video. And with regards to the online workshops, we are having 3 modules, which is the first one would be the social project design, project management, as well as social impact communications, which is going to be led by Impact. And for the on-site regional workshop, so earlier in the discussions, we have shown you a video, which is a video from last year showing the regional capacity building workshop that was taking place in Bangkok. So you're going to be going through a similar event as well. And you're going to arrive in Bangkok by the 31st of July, going through all of this agenda and depart to the project sites by the 6th of August. And at the end of the day, you're going to be required to return to your home country by the 20th of August and engage with the civil society organizations to monitor the project and help with the implementation of the project virtually. So yeah, the project implementation is essentially 12 weeks, but the on-site engagement is 2 weeks. So these are the things that you need to pay attention to. The first one would be the upcoming or online regional capacity building workshop. also submit all of the needed administrative requirements that we have sent to you. Next, we have the on-site regional capacity building workshops taking place in Bangkok, on-site project implementations, and reporting requirements. So yeah, if you have any questions with regards to any of this, you can put your questions in the chat box, and at the end of the session, we are going to try to address all of those questions given the time limit. So yeah, I think that would be it with regards to the program. And I would like to invite our head of communications, Mr. Anthony, to deliver his presentations regarding the communications guidelines that you need to abide by. So Mr. Anthony, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so hi everyone. I hope you can hear me. If you encounter any trouble or having a difficulty in seeing my slide, just let me know. So as mentioned by Alvin, my name is Anthony. I am the head of communications at ASEAN Foundation. First thing first, congratulations, for becoming the young change makers of Empowering Youth Cohort 4. And excited to meet all of you here. So this is gonna be a pretty straightforward presentation because in the implementation of the community project campaign will be a very big part of your activities, right? So that's why I hope that this document, this simple document, could help guide your campaign throughout the 2 weeks of the community project and even beyond, right? So this is something that we will be sharing, in due time, whether this document or the updated version of this document. So, okay, so this is pretty self-explanatory, but there are 3 things that I want to emphasize. First thing first is that you are all here because you have the ability to spread the word about the program. As you may know, you have gone through a pretty thorough, right, assessment. So you are here because you are the best of the best, and it also includes your ability, or at least your potential in communicating the program to wider audience, right? So this is especially true for the CSO. So we are picking the CSO not just because of their their achievement, but also their ability to promote the program, whether through social media or maybe their media network. Now the second one is that the campaign that you will do, we really encourage that that effort is something that you are doing collaboratively together, between youth volunteers and civil society organizations, right? So because, okay, you come, as a youth volunteers, you work with the CSO, and I believe that you will have lots of creative ideas that you want to promote, especially during the community project implementation. But make sure that whatever contents that you will be creating later on, you consult with the your CSO first, because they will have the best understanding about, okay, so what kind of contents that work, what kind of contents that don't work. So this is something that you need to figure out together. And we really encourage that the contents that you created, that you will create later on, can also be published on the civil society organization social media. So that's why it's very important that you are collaborating together throughout the implementation of Empowering Youth Cohort 4. Right, and the last one is that please make sure that you promote your projects in the right way, meaning that so it's not just about creating creative contents, but it's also about, okay, so you have to have the consistency to promote your contents about your project, and then you have to follow the guidance of the CSOs that you will be working with. And of course, we really encourage that you also promote whatever contents you created on your personal social media, if that's possible at all. And this is something that is actually related to the to the guideline that I'm going to be sharing. Okay, so as you may know, this program has its own logo, which is Empowering Youths. And this is something that will be readily available for you. We have different version of this logo. This is something that we will be sharing with you, right? And these are the 4 main partner logos that need to be in all of the basically campaign materials that you will be creating. So again, all of this logo will be available. You can download it anytime. Okay, so our plan is to actually provide a social media template for you to use, right? So we hope that it can be easier for you to to continuously create content and publish content, so that you don't have to create a new templates for you. So that's why we're gonna be providing this. But of course, this is something that I understand that I think for certain CSOs, you have that your own social media template, right? So this is something that we can discuss later on. But for now, this is something that we will be making available for all of you. So if you can use it, that's great. But if it's not possible, just let us know. Okay, again, so with regards to promoting your projects the right way, these are some of the things that you need to include. Main hashtags, as well as, if possible at all, especially if your content will be published on the CSO social media, please make sure that you are tagging us, right? So please make sure that as best as you can, you apply this. All right, so these are some of the samples in terms of logo placement. So this is the current logo placement that we are proposing. But of course, as I mentioned before, there might be an updated version of this guideline, and that we will be sharing with you. But for now, just keep this in mind. All right, we really encourage that, especially during the implementation of community projects, you take as many photos as possible using your camera or the CSO camera, and please make sure that you manage to capture the best possible photo with the best possible quality, right? So because this is something that we will do to promote the program. We will be needing all of these photos, and for future promotion, for our social media. So please keep this in mind, right? Now, this is something that that is really important, because it something that related to to consent, right? So let's say you want to capture a photo of children, right? So please make sure that you have this publicity consent and release form in your hand at every time whenever you go outside and you want to take a photo or video of someone, especially children. So this is something that will be made available as well for everyone. So it's gonna be, we usually prepare it in several language, but so feel free to use them in whatever language that you feel most comfortable. So yeah. Okay, so in terms of press release, because one of the things that we really encourage for the collaborative effort between youth volunteers and CSO is to have a press release, right, to promote your activity during the community project. So we really encourage you that instead of using English, you can always use a localized press release, because again, you will be dealing with local media, right? So a localized press release is always better. And please make sure that you accompany it with the the right kind of photos, right? So this is the program description that we usually use in our past Empowering Youth. So if you can apply this, I think that would be great. All right, so I think that's it from my side. So, and as I said before, it's going to be a short one, but if you have any questions, especially technical questions, just put your question I think in the chat box or whatever. I think other team is currently compiling it, and I will be happy to answer them. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alvin. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Okay, without further ado, I think I would like to hand the floor over to Ms. Ninik as the head of operations to discuss about finance and operations related matters. So Ms. Ninik, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Alvin. Maybe you can assist me to share the file or the screen.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can give me a minute. Yes.
Okay. So next slide, please. So first of all, congratulations to the youth volunteers and also the CSO or SE that you have gone through this far and selected as our implementing partner and also as the youth volunteers for this empowering youth across ASEAN Cohort 4 project. So reflecting from the 3 cohort before, the Internal ASEAN Foundation finally decided to use a different type of agreement starting for this cohort. And we will apply the fixed amount grant agreement to our local implementing partner, which is ASEAN Foundation will not require any receipts or the invoice for any purchases or the procurement documents for any purchases, but you have to submit the financial report in the form of the BVA or budget versus actual or the spending report. Maybe Alvin can show the next slide, Vin. Yeah, so this is the report that the CSO or SE should submit to ASEAN Foundation every time you request for a payment to us. So the budget versus actual, actually the summary of your approved budget that has been approved by the project team. So in the budget line, you just put the header of the project and then put the description and then put the approved budget amount. For the actual expense, it's related to the next slide, Vin, for the general ledger. Yeah. So the expenditure actually taken from this form, which is called the general ledger. Actually, this is outline the number of the transaction that related to every purchases related to the implemented project or the EYAA project. So the CSO finance must complete the column of the, as usual, the voucher number and then date of transaction, budget line, which is referred to the BVA file before. And then for the project, you just put the EYAA 4. And for the GL account, if you have any internal account, just put it there. And the description, please put as clear as possible, like the name of the vendor, and then what is the purpose of the purchase, and also the amount you should display both in local currency and also in US dollar. So for the US dollar figure, it will be based on the local amount that you receive in your bank account divided by the US dollar that we transfer or we send. Okay, maybe we go back to the second slide again, Alvin. Yeah, so this fixed amount grant agreement or FAG, actually every time you submit the or you you submit the fund request, you just have to submit the invoice. It will be based on the each CSO or SE format, so we don't have the specific format for the invoice. And then you submit the deliverables. I believe that these deliverables or milestone form already shared, maybe Alvin, by the project team to our CSO or SE?
Yes.
Or not yet? Yeah. So you just submit that to two documents plus the Annex 3B, which is the one that I just showed you, the financial reporting, the BVA report, and then that's all. The rest will be the internal documents from AF side. Yeah, and as you know that this agreement payment will be made based on the Sorry, Alvin, there's something wrong with the pop-up message. Okay, so the payment will be made based on your deliverable or your milestone. So we will not require any receipt or maybe any procurement documents. So just submit the invoice and then the financial reporting on the form of the BVA and also the spending report. That's all. Okay, Alvin, I think that's all from my end. And maybe if we have a separated QA sessions, right?
Correct, Ms. Nini.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Ninik. So for the implementing partners, should
Yeah.
you have any questions, please put the questions into the chat box, as well as for the youth volunteers, if you have any queries with regards to the timeline or any other requirements regarding your commitment to the project, please feel free to put your questions into the chat box. Okay, while we wait for the questions that you might have, I would like to invite Mr. Mahmoudi Yusbi to open the camera and say hi perhaps to the participants, and perhaps if you have any remarks that you would like to say, Mr. Mahmoudi.
Thanks, Alvin, and hello, everyone. Sorry for a bit late to join the meeting. I had other prior commitments. So nothing to add. I think Alvin has presented about the empowering youth across ASEAN to all of the participants. Just to congratulate everyone for being the change makers for the empowering youth across ASEAN Cohort 4. And I think, if you have any questions, I'll be here to respond to that questions as well. And I look forward to meeting all of you in Thailand, in Bangkok. And yeah, so excited to be working with you and, learning your impactful program. So that will be all. Alvin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mahmoudi Yusbi. Okay, so we now have a couple of questions that we compiled. So yeah, Ms. Vanta, we will be able to share with you the communications guidelines, even as well as the financial reporting guidelines that we have to you later on. Next, with regards to the training in Bangkok, will the delegates from or nearby Bangkok will be provided with hotel accommodations alongside the other delegates? Absolutely, yes. The program requires all the participants together in the venue that we have set. So we will provide all the necessary transport and accommodations arrangement for that matter. And Nacha has a question. Does the date for the project site is already confirmed? Yes. The project site or the project implementation period or timeline has been confirmed, and you can set your schedule accordingly. So for instance, if you are still in school, you may want to start taking care of your permit letter, or if you're employed elsewhere, you may want to start taking care of those permission letter for these dates. So yeah, Shafika is asking, will the slides for the important dates be sent to us? Yes, we will provide you with all the necessary guidelines, including the reporting guidelines that we shared with you, so you can learn about all the program requirements, all the reporting requirements, as well as the communications guidelines with regards to the project. Boron asks, what do we need to report about on the 2-week daily timesheet? So yeah, essentially for those 2 weeks, you'll be engaged on site. So for instance, you are assigned in a project site in Malaysia. So you will be going through a number of activities that you will discuss with your CSOs later on. And during those dates, we will require you to list down all of those activities day by day, that you've done and achieved, and we would need that to be verified by the civil society organizations coordinator whose contact we have shared with you earlier today. And on the on-site project, do we need to stay with roommate, or where is the place we have to stay? Yes, we will arrange your housing at the project site. But yeah, please be sure that you have the appropriate or right motivations and expectations, as you know that we are doing volunteering activities and we might be deployed somewhere in the rural areas across the ASEAN region. So please be ready that you might be required to stay for 2 weeks in a rural area where, for instance, issues such as for internet connections, or let's say weather and things like those might occur. So please be sure that you have set yourself with the right expectations, that you are doing volunteering works, and that you will do a volunteering job. And perhaps on that matter, Mr. Mahmoudi, do you have anything to say with regards to the right expectations on the project sites? Okay. Yeah. With regards to the summary, yes, we will share with you the meeting notes and recordings of this meeting. And additionally, you have questions regarding the, yeah. So in total, you will be staying in the project sites for about 2 weeks plus a week training in Bangkok. So be sure that you set your permit letter to your employer or your school accordingly based upon the timelines that we have shared with you. So yeah. Noina is asking, do we have the cultural showcase from each country? Yes, in fact, one of the key part of the regional capacity building workshop that we have in Bangkok is the cultural night or gala dinner, where you will have the opportunity to gather with your fellow volunteers from the same country and plan a show during the gala dinner. So you will need to have your traditional clothing ready in Bangkok to do just that. Details of the regional capacity building workshop will be shared accordingly. And for sure, what you need to be ready in the near future, or at least within this and next week, is the regional capacity building workshop that will be run virtually starting on the 14th of this month, as well as your administrative requirements, because we will need to arrange your flights from your hometown to Bangkok and to fly to the project sites and back to your hometown. So you will have those travel that you need to be prepared. And yeah, everyone is expected to arrive in Bangkok on the 31st of July, because we will begin the workshop on the 1st of August. And on that regards, we understand that this time or scheduling of the flights might be different. So some of you might be required to fly for about 2 days, given the locations that you are in. So for instance, if I were from a from a specific locations that only have certain numbers of flight every week, you will need to leave early, even for instance on the 30th of July. So it's gonna be case by case, and it's gonna be set accordingly. So our team will contact you and will set the arrangements. That's why be sure that you need to submit all of those administrative documents accordingly on time. That is very important for us to be able to set your flights accordingly. Yeah, we also received a couple of questions with regards to the medical certificate issued by public health officials. So why do we need this type of documents? Of course, the project will require you to embark yourself and go to possibly a remote area across the ASEAN region. That's why we want to make sure that all the volunteers are ready physically, and that's why we would need that certificate. But yeah, we do not need like a thorough, let's say, medical checkup, x-ray and stuff like that. No, we do not need that. All you need to submit is a health letter stating a letter stating that you're healthy, that you're ready to do you know, a 3-week activities. You are physically ready to do volunteering works, and it has to be issued by your physician or your doctor. And yeah, it can be in your local language, but we prefer that you do it in English. So for instance, if let's say your doctor or your clinic is not able to create that document in English, you might want to get the copy in your in your language, and you may want to translate it accordingly. Yeah, if you need to create or to submit a permit letter to your school or your employer, you can use the official email announcement that we use, or if you have any specific need, you may want to contact us accordingly and see if there is any specific requirements that your employer or your school needs. So yeah, we have covered quite a lot of questions. Next up, so yeah, as mentioned in your commitment letter, we would require you to fly from your home country across ASEAN. So anywhere in ASEAN, we will be able to fly you to Bangkok and the project site as such. If you are, for instance, still outside of ASEAN, so if you're studying, I don't know, in Europe or in the US or in Australia or elsewhere, you may want to coordinate with us and be sure that we fly you from one of the ASEAN member states. That is very important. And as to the health certificate, if you have any specific questions with regards to that, you may want to submit or send us an email. So yeah, another questions with regards to the insurance coverage. We have sent you a detailed guidelines on the insurance that we require, because we, of course, we are traveling abroad, and I think it is our precautionary actions in case things happen. Of course, we don't want that to occur, but if the worst things happen, we have a backup and we have our insurance. And of course, with regards to that, the program will cover or will reimburse the travel insurance that you purchase in Bangkok later on. All you need to do is to submit the insurance policy that you have purchased, and we will take care of that accordingly. And yeah, it is required for everyone to have a travel insurance unless when you are in Bangkok. Yeah, for those Thai, for those who are Thai nationals, and for the regional capacity building workshops, you will not need a travel insurance because you are in Bangkok still. But when you travel abroad, when you are assigned to, let's say, Cambodia or Indonesia, you might want to have the travel insurance accordingly. Yeah, if you need a formal or official acceptance letter, we can issue that. Absolutely. Please send us an email accordingly. Stipend or allowance? Yes, for during the on-site training in Bangkok later on, which will last for about 5 to 6 days, we will provide you with a meal allowance for certain dates, because most of the program requirements or the program needs are going to be covered by the ASEAN Foundation. So your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner will be covered by the ASEAN Foundation. And in the case that, for instance, we do not like in specific dates, such as we're going to be having a city tour, for instance, we will not provide you with dinner, but we will provide you with an allowance for those meals during those dates. But yeah, it will be in a lump sum disbursement. And for the implementations, the allowance is not provided, but the flights, the accommodations, the local transports with regards to all program related and project related activities are going to be provided. So yeah, you will not receive specific allowance during the volunteering period during the on-site deployment. So Benjamin Abel is asking if any representative from ASEAN or Maybank Foundation be present on respective implementation site during the 7th to 20th of August. Yeah, it's going to be done on a case-by-case basis, Benjamin. But yeah, towards the monitoring and evaluations period, which is going to be in September, the ASEAN Foundation and Maybank Foundation will visit the project sites to verify the project and to monitor the impact that we have created together. So the ASEAN Foundation and Maybank team will fly to your place and arrange that accordingly. But yeah, during the implementation period, it's going to be done on a case-by-case basis, and we will inform you accordingly. If from Bangkok, as mentioned earlier, you're going to be flying from your hometown, wherever it is in Southeast Asia, to Bangkok. And from Bangkok, you'll be flown to your project sites, your assigned project sites. And from that place, you will be flown back to your hometown. Yeah, it is very important as well to note that we have sent you a detailed instructions or a follow-up actions that you need to do. So one of those is to create a WhatsApp group with your group as well as your CSO implementing partners coordinators, where you will be expected to have an initial meeting with them, discuss and introduce yourself, get to know each other, and discuss the potential projects that you are having. So yeah, we would like you to do that as soon as possible within this week prior to the online training on the 14th of June. Yeah, with regards to the COVID vaccines, it is generally accepted that you would need to have 3 vaccinations because the policy of each country might be different from one to another, despite being in the same region, in which case ASEAN. Each country has their own policy. So I think it is safe to have that 3rd vaccinations ready. Also, it is very important as well to ensure that your passport is valid for at least 6 months when you fly to the project site. So let's say that you're flying there on the 6th or 7th of August, and you need to have your passport valid 6 months after that. So it's safe to say that it has to be valid until the end of January or February 2025 minimum, at least. It has to be valid for 6 months. And yeah, so yeah, if any colleagues from the ASEAN Foundations would like to add, or Maybank Foundations would like to add, feel free to unmute yourself to answer questions. Perhaps Mr. Mahmoudi, Mr. Anthony, or Ms. Ninik, or the rest of the Empowering Youth Across ASEAN team. Yeah, meals are going to be covered by the by the program through the CSO implementing partners. Meals are going to be provided. And yeah, everyone is going to be flown back on the 20th, depending on the flight schedule availability. So in each and every case, it might be different, and we will coordinate with you closely with regards to your flight schedule. Be sure to always check your WhatsApp group. Be sure to always check your emails in case of any important announcement needed. Anything else? And yeah, the flight tickets is going to be covered by the ASEAN Foundations and Maybank Foundations. So the program will cover all the program-related requirements, including flights, accommodations, and ticketing and everything. So even meals throughout the program. The flight is going to be arranged as soon as possible. As such, we would need your cooperations to submit the required documents, including your passport, your other documents, vaccinations, and so on, for us to be able to move quickly to be able to book your flight tickets, because all of those documents are going to be required by our team to be able to purchase your flight tickets. And if you, for instance, at this point, your passport will expire very soon, we will expect you to take care of it as soon as possible and be in touch with us, be in touch with our team with regards to that. So yeah, the program, as you have signed in your commitment letter, you have agreed that you will follow the ASEAN Foundations and Maybank Foundations program agenda as well as scheduling. So this includes the program itself, the project itself, the flights, and everything. So you would need to follow through all of those requirements as you have signed earlier in the commitment letter. Specifically on the project activities, you might want to discuss it directly with your CSOs, implementing partners later on. But yeah, you will have certain days off, but of course, a lot of those time are going to be needed for you to be able to contribute and volunteer. The project locations, yeah, earlier today we have provided you with your assigned project and countries where you're going to be running your projects. So you might want to discuss those project related or project specific questions with your CSOs or with your social enterprise and implementing partner. Of course, we're available on WhatsApp and email. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send us emails or WhatsApp. But of course, please be sure that you take your time because we receive quite a numbers of questions. So please be patient and we'll answer your questions accordingly. Yeah, safety. So first of all, we ensure that all the projects that we have on board for cohort 4 is safe, because we have done quite a rigorous assessment with regards to the projects that we have for this year. But of course, we will coordinate accordingly with the implementing partners and ensure that the safety is being secured. So yeah, if perhaps anyone would like to add on that, Mr. Mahmoudi or Mr. Anthony, you have anything to add with regards to the safety?
No, Alvin, I think you've explained the safety already, but I think we will talk more about the safety when you are in Bangkok. because we will have a volunteers sort of trainings where it allows you to basically ask questions, and we will present you with the safety measures as well as what are the needs and what you will expect basically when we deploy you to the youth projects or youth community projects. So yeah, so please expect more details when you are in Bangkok. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mamuni. Yeah, again, details with regards to the project activities will be explained by each and every CSO CSO representatives that you have been assigned to. So if you have any of those questions, please feel free to ask them accordingly. We believe that everyone has been in the WhatsApp group of each and every project, so feel free to discuss things on those groups. So yeah, there is this reminder from Aldi that we would need, again, your documents to be submitted by the 14th of June. So it will help us arrange your travels and other administrative related matters accordingly. If you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Aldi on WhatsApp.
Alvin, if I may add with regards to the communications guideline.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify the communication guideline that we presented just now and we will share later, it will be mostly relevant for the implementation of community projects, because usually the community projects, you will be, working with the CSO to create the content and to promote them usually on the CSO social media platform. So this guideline will, hopefully will help you in terms of, okay, so this is the placement of logo, this is the template that we have to use. It also means that, let's say during the training, you want to promote something, especially if you're youth volunteers, you want to promote your participation in the training, you can freely do that. For example, you want to create Instagram story or TikTok live. You don't have to follow that guideline that we share. So you can just basically create the contents as you usually create for your own personal use, right? So yeah, so I think this guideline that we've shared just now, we will share it with you once we have updated it, accordingly. But again, this guideline will be very relevant during the 2-week community project implementation and beyond until the cohort 4 finish. That's the first one. The second one is that I believe you have been group, right? So you are already designated to your 10 groups, right, Alvin? Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So this is what I want you to do. From the CSO side, they usually will have a dedicated comms officer that will be helping you, supporting you throughout the community project. Now, I would like to encourage you to assign one person from each of your team to be one or two, up to you, to be responsible for the communications effort of your project. And if this is something that you find helpful, you can actually create a WhatsApp group just for this communications persons. And inside there will be Arum, which is the communications person of Empowering Youth Across ASEAN. So she will help to coordinate all the things. For example, you have questions, you need clarifications with regards to guideline or anything that the communications, Arum can help to clarify that for you. I think that's it, Alvin. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Echoing what Mr. Anthony has mentioned earlier, we have also reminded you in the email that you might need to select one person to be a group leader among the youth volunteers. So this person, she or he, will be the coordinator in terms of communicating with the ASEAN foundations and Maybank foundations on the project. So yeah, we would need those as well. Okay, so if you have any more questions, feel free to email us and feel free to WhatsApp us for more details. In the meantime, we would expect you to have a meeting with your CSO implementing partners on the 11th, 12th, or the 13th, anytime that you find doable for everyone. And yeah, we also expect you to wait for an email from our colleagues at Impact with regards to your online regional capacity building workshops that we have mentioned earlier. So I think that would be the end of sessions, and I would give the floor back to Ms. Arum.
Yeah, thank you, Alvin, for leading the presentation and Q&A session. And we have now reached the end of tonight's meeting. But before we end our meeting, could you please turn on your camera so we can take a photo together? In 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, without waiting any longer, on behalf of the Empowering Youths Across ASEAN team, we would like to thank all respected civil society organizations and youth volunteers for your time. And we hope that we could all start working together to create sustainable and lasting impact to the communities across ASEAN. And have a nice evening all. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.